At this point, I think we might be living at our in-laws' house until, we get old and gray, because the housing market is absolutely ridiculous. It's so sad because back in the day, you're able to just go to school, get a good job, get married, be able to buy a house, start a family, and possibly be able to stay part-time at home even with the children to help raise them. Now it's like, no, you get married, where are you living? Maybe we're going to live in a shoebox, maybe we're going to be homeless living on the street, because why is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath like $800,000? Like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around how...
Where's 1-bedroom, 1-bath, $800,000? Like, I agree with you, things are way expensive. 1-bedroom, 1-bath, $800,000. That's either Los Angeles, New York, maybe Hawaii. Like in the middle of Honolulu. Maybe. I don't think so, for the most part, unless it's like crazy luxurious. A luxury place, but it's not that expensive. But I still agree things are crazy expensive. And, a lot of it has to do is that young people don't vote. Because, you keep these people in power who are in the now. Take care of us now. And we're just going to continue to borrow from the future. And guess what? The future's coming up now. Growing up. And they have to pay all these extra taxes. Social Security is supposed to be 2%. Now it's like 12% of your check. But you know what? You don't show up to vote. And you let these old career politicians stand. But this is not what this is about. I'm ranting too far.
Things are going right now, because it's pretty hopeless for this generation, for us that are trying to start our lives and get a place. It's like rent is absolutely insane. You can't save any money to be able to buy a place. They don't want us to own anything, and they literally want to destroy your dreams of starting a life. It's just so embarrassing.
Well, what's the job you have that makes it so difficult? Like, don't get me wrong. I do believe there are jobs that used to pay well, but no longer do. So you have to find the new job, but for the most part, we're going to get to the point where being a W-2 employee is no longer going to help you get a house anymore. It's no longer going to give you a comfortable life anymore.
Y'all really need to check in on those middle classers, because I'm telling you, I just went to the grocery store. I bought about 5 days worth of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, some fresh produce, maybe a bag of chips and a gallon of juice. And let me tell you, $400. What?
I believe it. Groceries are insanely expensive. And $400 just a week on food? What is that higher math? That's more than 20,000. 20,800. That's expensive. That's a lot of money. It's like just as expensive as rent, huh?
Half my check gone. We make too much to get any EBT with any kind of government assistance, anything. I'm telling you, it's a hard life out here, especially for those middle class people. So y'all need to check in, because we out here hurting, okay?
I mean, what's considered middle class, right? Middle class people typically are not struggling. Middle class people have expendable income. They have backup plans. They have a house. It used to be one person working and the other spouse is taking care of the house. Of course, that's no longer the case. They keep redefining what middle class means. But from what I last checked, be able to have a house. There's 2 incomes in the house. Combined income, depending on where you live, though. Like between $150,000 to $200,000 a year. But that doesn't feel like it, though. Feels like it has to be more to be middle class. So it's subjective, right? Tell me what you think middle class is.
Hi, can I help you?
Big Mac, fillet of fish, large fry. Chicken McNugget.
Happy Meal.
Happy Meal.
Happy Meal?
Do you want orange soda? Orange soda.
Okay, you want sauce for the nuggets? Ketchup? Okay.
And I'll have a hamburger small.
Hey, some places charge for condiments now. If you want ketchup or ranch, they add another 25 cents. Some of them 35 cents. If you want dipping sauce.
Fry and a Diet Coke.
What size Diet Coke will it be? Anything for dessert? Okay, for here? That comes to $10.84, please.
Well, here's the thing. Food from McDonald's from 1990 is 3 times more. Have wages gone up three times more since 1990? I would say some have, but most have not.
So I had a conversation with my boomer dad and boomer uncles about why people didn't want to work anymore, and I said something that I think is true and I want to share it with you. First of all, let me share with you some of their condescending thoughts. One of the points my boomer relatives said is, why do people expect work to be good? It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be comfortable. That's why you call it work. We didn't expect it to be comfortable. We labored in uncomfortable situations and we did it in order to make a living. We didn't expect luxuries. You guys expect luxuries. And let's just derail the conversation twice here for a second. First of all, who is telling them that we want luxury? And that's something that for some reason we're unwilling to put up with uncomfortable situations.
If I were to interject, I do see a lot of people who work at the mall, work at places not high paying, but they live fake rich lives. Latest greatest phone, a car with a huge payment on it. And so you see that, like, okay, they're just not smart with money. So that's why they're trying to live the luxurious life that they see on social medias. If I were to interject, but I also get what this guy's talking about too, because it's like not all of us are like that, and I agree with that too.
All of us worked through college. All of us. I don't know a single person who didn't have a job, who didn't work almost full time all the way through college, even though they were going to college full time. I did that. Almost everybody else I know did that. Secondly, most of us are just asking for healthcare and affordable housing. I don't understand where the concept of luxury is coming from. A place to sleep and have some money to buy food and then maybe go out every once in a while is most of what people are asking for. And not to be terrified of future and retirement and dying poor and lonely. So straight out of the gate, I don't know who is feeding them this bullshit narrative. Now, secondly, a little over a 20-year...
Well, I mean, boomers right now, if you're a boomer right now, for the most part, not all of them, of course, but you're living a very comfortable, low mortgage payment. You're living with a comfortable either retirement, or if you're still working, the salary still carries you because you don't have to pay that much on your mortgage. Assuming you own a house, you have a mortgage, not renting. Many of them might have a pension. Many of them might have Social Security. Those are two things millennials are not going to get. Pensions are done. And Social Security is supposed to dry up within the next 10 years or so. So it's easy for them to say, this is what you have to do. I did that. So you should be able to too. Guess what? Millennials are doing exactly what you were doing, but we're coming out with much less. And that's the one thing boomers fail to realize, because every time you mention something, boomers always turn it around on them and be like, this is what I did and it worked. I know it did, but understand things have changed. It doesn't work that way anymore. This method that you did doesn't work today.
For a period of time, the dollar lost almost half of its value. And in 2000, most boomers were in their 40s when that began to happen. Since 1970, there's been a 500% increase or more in the consumer price index. A 1,500% increase in tuition, at least amongst higher education places like Harvard, and only a 10% increase in wages. In addition, baby boomers will not retire and get out of the way so that younger people can have careers, with 50% nearly of millennials and Gen Z, and 1/3 of Gen Xers saying that they've blocked their career progression. So let's return to the main criticism that these boomers had of millennials and Gen Z, that we didn't want to work, we didn't like working, we thought it was too uncomfortable and we didn't want to do it.
Well, I know a lot of millennials and Gen Z, they're accused of not working because they don't want to accept jobs that don't pay very well. Why would you spend 40 hours a week for a job that's not going to pay your rent, your bills, your food, utilities, right?
Anymore. It's not that we don't want to. It's that the bargain used to be that for 2,000 hours of work a year-ish, you could afford a life. And that's just not true anymore. You can work as hard as you want, you're not going to get ahead. So work has always been bullshit. We've just realized that it's no longer worth doing because you don't get anything for it anymore.
I was just at my local grocery store and the woman ahead of me was buying a significant amount of groceries, and the cashier even said, wow, what are you making? And she said, oh, this is just dinner for my family. This is typical. And I thought, wow, like, you must have a big family. It must be, I'm thinking in my head, this must be so hard for you to feed a large family. Right now, it's typically just my daughter and I, and I have a hard time keeping up with the cost of food. And then she went to pay and her card declined.
Dude, to get your card declined, that's hard. That hits you like right in the soul, like you're just not worthy, right? I've had that happen to me in my young 20s, but if you're a parent and you got kids and you're trying to buy all this food and it comes up declined, ooh, that doesn't feel good, because then like what? They're gonna just take the food and put it back on the shelves and you have to walk away all in shame. That's rough.
And I like turned my back because I had that happen to me, and it's mortifying. So I turned my back and kind of pretended I was.
Did someone just off themselves? Like, that's how bad things are right now. Like, this is dumb. F this.
I was looking at the candy, and I could feel her embarrassment and her shame. And the cashier was like, don't worry about it. She's like, oh, I'm going to go talk to my husband. And I just felt so bad for that woman, because even specifically at a grocery store, it's like worse because you're trying to feed your family and your card declines. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's it's a moment you'll never forget. I've had it happen. It's
moments like that is like you think you have enough money and the card declines, like, what's going on? I thought I had enough. And you look at your statements and then there was like something was pulled, right? Like a subscription or something, emergency spending of like a car repair that didn't go through for a couple days. Like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, manage your finances. Like, I get that, but I understand like why the card would decline, especially if you're just like paycheck to paycheck. This is very typical if you're living paycheck to paycheck. It's just like you will have moments when your card would decline and you did not expect it. You thought you were on top of it. Not always. It happens.
I don't need to budget. Prices either need to go down or my pay needs to go up.
Literally everything he just said was facts. Because at this point, I think like we past surviving. Like we fed, everybody's fed up, bro. Everybody is fed up. They tell you to go to college, you go to college, you get debt, you come out of college, you can't even find a job because you don't got experience. Then they talking about internships without pay. When I found out, I was like, what? I'm giving you time and you're not paying me? No.
Well, that's one method of getting experience. It's not the only method to get experience, but I've done internships without pay, and I was able to put that on my resume and showed the next employer. Sure, you could negotiate with the current employer, be like, hey man, it's been 3 months, I haven't got paid, but I think I'm worthy enough to get paid now. And if they say, oh, we don't have a position open, after that, it's like, okay, well, I'll take this 3 months and show another employer that I can apply the skills. I did that, worked out for me. But I don't knock on unpaid internships because in exchange, you get experience. I don't understand why people are willing to pay and get into debt at college. And then when you get out, you can't find a job. Well, there's a reason you don't have experience, right? That's why I say sometimes, like, if you want to do something that doesn't require a college degree, like say you want to be a photographer, you don't need a college degree to be a photographer. I know some people will say you don't. You learn some YouTube videos, and you could probably just either be an assistant to a photographer for like 3 months, learn the experience, learn how to get clients, whatnot, and then work for yourself later. But the experience, the knowledge is so valuable and important that the money will follow.
People are really out here like contemplating if they should pay the bills or they should like pay the medicine. Like it's absolutely absurd that like we're living in times where like at this point you got to pay to die. Like God forbid you break your arm or you go get a checkup at the ER. Like then like the old heads are absolutely clueless because they're telling you, oh, like you're just lazy. This generation is just lazy. Go out and get a job. Like the whole American dream book. Stop.
Well, my unpaid internship, I still had a full-time job and went to college at the same time. Like, I don't have much time to myself, yeah, and it sucks. But I also understand that, like, when you get a job and trying to get going, it doesn't pay the bills. And I can understand that if you've been working for 5+ years with a degree and everything else, and you're still struggling, yeah, I understand that frustration. But I mean, when I hear this, it's like, can't pay, you got bills to pay, whatnot. Like, if you're just immediately out of college, like, everyone struggled immediately out of college until they got the experience and they got things rolling. So you can't expect immediate gratification like right away.
Because if the next old person that comes to me and tells me that, oh, it's because I'm lazy, I'm not trying hard enough, or
it's not that I'm not gonna say you're lazy or anything. I think it's just your expectations are probably just too high immediately after college. No, I feel for people who've been working for a long time. They've already had their degree, and they're getting outpriced on everything. That I totally side with. But new college graduates, I've been there too, between the hurdle of like, okay, I just graduated, but I don't have the experience. What do I do? Internships, some networking, contracting company helped me out too. Contracting company, they set you up with an employer. Then maybe after a few months, if you worked hard enough, the employer could just pick you up out of that contracting company, and then you have a better deal. That worked for me. There's numerous ways, but the immediate gratification of living comfortably right away after college, like, you got to work your way up to that.
If the last 40 years repeats itself, in 2063, we'll see these prices. A new car will cost about $136,000. The average rent will be about $9,000 a month. The gas price will be about $13 a gallon. An average home will cost about $1.9 million. And the average salary will be about $100,000 a year. Now look, we can laugh about these numbers all we want because they are pretty comical. But unfortunately, we live in a clown world. And this might just happen because inflation, like all other things, unfortunately compounds. Remember back in 2008 when the world was melting and Ben Bernanke came out with these huge stimulus packages, people criticized him because they thought, oh my God, $500 billion, that's wild. $700 billion, that's insane. And then whenever the lockdowns occurred in 2020 and we printed trillions upon trillions of dollars, they said the same exact thing. They're like, oh my God, that's insane. That's so much money. Well, the next time something happens and they pivot and they print money, how much do you think it's going to be? It's not going to be single-digit trillion. It's going to be tens of trillions of dollars. AOC already said she wants to implement a $90 trillion spending initiative on climate. That should give you an idea of how much we are going to inflate this currency away over the course of time. Not only that, but our world is just getting harder. Gas prices are going to go up because, simply put, there's not going to be enough gas. Saudi Arabia is already reducing the amount of gas it's selling. Russia has cut off exports entirely. In the US, well, we just don't want to frack for shit here, which is a shame because we really could, and our gas would be a lot cheaper. And unfortunately, gas goes into every one of these other things. It goes into how much your car costs. It goes into how much the rent is because you need gas for a lot of things that build a fucking house, or at least go in the house. So you see where this is going. If you don't start making and investing money now, you're never gonna get rich. And I'm saying this in a position of absolute fear. I am fearful every day that I'm not gonna make enough because quite frankly, we don't know how much it's gonna take. It might take an ungodly number that none of us are gonna be able to reach. And if that's the case, so be it. But we gotta try because there's no nobility in throwing in the towel. And I am not trying to be caught in this slavery mess.
Well, I mean, that's the inflation. Because I remember those stimulus packages like back in 2008 went to the banks and the banks held it. They didn't even spend it like they said they would. That pissed off everyone. Whenever they print money, everything gets inflated. And that was only, was it billions? And then now we just printed out trillions of dollars. It's no surprise that things are so expensive and wages can't catch up. A lot of it has to do with the people we keep voting in. And of course, younger generations, they don't vote. Well, this is what you get because older people are going to vote for the now. And you always hear about Social Security being threatened. And then, older generations like, no, keep Social Security in right now. What do we have to do to keep Social Security? Oh, well, we have to borrow from the future, but we'll figure out something in the future. But right now, we can save it. Just borrow from the future. I'm ranting the same thing again, I know, but this is what it is.
Here are some more things I'm just not spending money on in 2023 because of inflation. First up, a new iPhone. I've had an iPhone for a decade and I do the upgrade every 2 years, get the new phone. And this year I'm due for an upgrade and I am not doing it. First off, this phone is like no different. And also I have one that works and so I just don't need to spend the money. Second, Target trips. Remember when you were just bored or you just needed to get out of the house and so you were like, oh, I'll just go to Target. And then you check out with spending $50 or more on things that you weren't going to buy anyway. I do not go inside Target anymore. I shop at Target, but it's all through Drive Up. Shopping that way allows me to just go and purchase things that I already know that I need rather than just browsing aisles and buying things that I truly don't need. Next up, high-end clothing.
Does it have to be Target? If you're watching your spending, does it have to be Target? Why not Walmart? There's other places that are cheaper than Target. And if you're not going in, like, you're missing out on the experience. So what difference does it make if you're not shopping at Target? Go somewhere that's cheaper. There's plenty of other places that's cheaper than Target.
Last year, I got a few pieces from Lululemon. They're great. This year, shop on the Amazon dupes. Don't have the budget for that. And finally, vacation. Now, my husband and I did take a vacation earlier this year that we planned since like February, and we got it for a really good deal because we did it through like a timeshare promo kind of thing. But other than that, we do not have any vacations planned. Normally, I like to have like something in the works to look forward to, but not right now. We don't need that. And it's not
the lack of vacations. I know that they cost money, and they range in price too. But people not taking vacations worries me because it's your personal time to decompress, experience the world, try new things, be a tourist, help the economy in other places. So that one bothers me when people are taking less vacations. And even if they're like cheap in-state vacations, right? You just go somewhere maybe north for 3 hours away for the weekend and check out the little towns. People are not doing that, and that bothers me. I think, people should be going on vacations. It's very important, I think, for your mental health too. Just so you're not in the monotony of you go to work, as soon as you get paid, it all goes to bill, do the whole cycle again.
The first thing I've given up, because the cost of living in 2023 is absolutely insane, is unnecessary expensive food purchases. Like olive oil. I don't buy olive oil anymore. It's fucking expensive. We just go with the off-brand vegetable oil or whatever's on sale. I used to buy olive oil all the time because it's better for you, and I was, trying to be all healthy and stuff, and I could afford to do that back then. Can't do that anymore now. And
that's a shame. Because olive oil, or extra virgin olive oil rather, and avocado oil is actually really good. If you're using vegetable oil or seed oils, that stuff is terrible for you. Yes, just because it's cheaper now, you're going to be paying for it later with your healthcare cost. So it's sad when I see that. Try to make healthy choices, but you can't afford it.
Another thing that I don't buy is bread. I don't buy bread anymore. I learned how to make it. It's a lot easier than what you think. If you want a recipe, let me know. And it's way more.
I'm happy to hear that. Making bread on your own is much better for you. You don't need to buy bread at the grocery store. It's all filled with preservatives. You go to the grocery store, you pick up the bread, look at the ingredients. Most of it is stuff you can't even pronounce in the first place, because bread, there's like 3 ingredients. What is it? Water, flour, and maybe yeast if you plan to make it that day. Otherwise, you're doing the whole starter with the bread. But yeah, bread is not that many ingredients. Fresh bread, yeah, it goes bad within that first day, starts getting hard or whatnot, but that's what real bread is. But if you're buying bread so it can last a week at the grocery store because all it's filled with preservatives, that stuff is terrible for you. It's poisoning your body.
More delicious, and it's way cheaper, and it's kind of fun. I mean, you get to knead it and punch it and take some aggression out, and it tastes a lot better. And things like mixes, like like pancake mixes, cornbread mixes, don't buy any of that shit anymore. It's convenient, yeah, it's nice, but you can make that shit for a lot cheaper, and it tastes. Thing number 2 that I've had to give up because the cost of living is so insane is just random presents. Like, I would, back in the day, back when, shit didn't suck so much, I would just, take my kids out on a Saturday or something when they were out of school and be like,
hey guys, you want to go? You've been really good this week. You want to go and get a toy, or do you want to go out for ice cream or something like that? Or if I happen to be out shopping for myself, which I can't do that anymore either, but if I happen to be out, like, you know, going to get myself a little something or other, and I saw something I thought my husband would like, I would buy it. Or I'd be bored sitting here at night and, you know, just scrolling around on my phone, and I'd be like, I want to get on Amazon and buy myself a piece of jewelry or a, you know, a new outfit, something. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, it's sad that you can't buy something cheap for your kids, right? A toy. I mean, go to Ross and get them a toy, maybe. You know, their toys are going to break and forget about them real quick. That's what kids do. Or ice cream. I guess you could just buy a gallon of ice cream at the store versus going to like McDonald's to get ice cream, or Dairy Queen. Or Dairy Queen's so expensive. I just went to like a fast food place. I think it was Jack in the Box. Bought a shake. It was like $8. I was like, I just had an urge for a shake because I haven't had one for so long. Like, I'm talking about more than a year, and then I decided to get one. Gosh, that was expensive. But yeah, I get the priorities though. I'm wondering if like all this cutback is going to change our culture, where people were like, I could just make this at home kind of thought. Like, why are we going out and spending so much money getting this food when I make it better at home?
I don't like even go and like get my kids like little coloring books or anything like that anymore. It's just, I just don't. It's, the cost of living is too much. Damn, you're loud. All right. Thing number 3 that I've had to give up because the cost of living is so high is getting my hair done. Like, I know you see I'm struggling here. Y'all, my hair used to be white. Like, I got it, like, just bleached to the max all the time. I've been having my hair highlighted, heavily highlighted, since I was 12 years old. I'm 36 now. That's a good portion of my life. But I haven't had my hair done in like 2 years, and this is its natural color now. And at this point, it's like, well, you're finally at your natural color after I don't know how many years. You might as well just leave it alone and let it rest for a little bit. But also, if that wasn't the case, like, leave it alone, let it rest for a little bit. Even if I wanted to get it done, I can't afford it. It cost me over $100 every time I used to do my hair, and I just can't justify spending that anymore.
It's hard for me to comment on that because it's easy for me as a guy to be like, why are you spending hundreds of dollars for your hair? Just what I do. I'm fine. But I know hair is so much more important for women, and I'll let them women take comment on that. Because for me, it's like, dude, $100+ like every, what is it, 8 weeks or something like that? You get your hair colored, or is it 6 weeks? I don't remember. It's like hundreds of dollars. Well, men, we have it easy. We just pay like $20 and we're kind of happy with it. But I understand cost of living, things you used to like, you can't have it anymore, right? Your lifestyle's changed for the worse, right? It's declining. It's not going up like it should be, especially if you're at 36. I feel bad. You know, you feel like you should be progressing up, but you're going downwards. Well, that's it for this video. So please leave a comment below. If you made it this far, please subscribe. I think I deserve it. I do read the comments. As long as you're not a troll, I'll read them, reply, and leave a like. Till next time. Bye.